I just stumbled on something fascinating. While a lot of trick-or-treaters were getting candies during the Halloween, some others were getting potatoes. Yep, you heard me right. Check out this TikTok video that I just found showcasing the potato Halloween trend.
You want more potatoes? Who wants more potatoes? Hey guys, you can grab 2.
Thank you.
You can grab 2.
While I do not particularly celebrate Halloween, this got me intrigued. So naturally, I went down the rabbit hole of the internet trying to investigate how the trend started and why kids are loving it. And I found this article by Business Wire, which tells me why kids are loving it and why it's fast becoming a trend. While I was reading this article, it got me thinking, what product design lesson can we draw from it? Well, stick around because I'm going to share some valuable insights in a bit. Here's how it's going to go. I'm going to give you the gist of the article because I feel like it's going to be really boring if I have to read every line of the article to you. Then we're going to go ahead to draw parallel product design lessons. Sounds good? Alright, awesome. Let's take it away. In this article, they mention 3 people who are popularizing the potato trick-or-treat trend. Pat Foy, Matt Schultz, and John, how do they pronounce that name? Toaspen. I'm just going to drop the son names and stick to their first name. So Pat, Matt, John. Pat Foy is a contractor who has been living in his hometown, Lancaster in Pennsylvania. Pat started this tradition by error, literally. He wanted to introduce something different into the Halloween mix. So he was like, oh, what would I introduce? Because he's of Irish descent, he thought potatoes naturally, right? He has been handing out potatoes for 18 years, so now he's fondly known as the Potato Man. And the first year he handed out potatoes, he found out that a lot of kids were picking potatoes over candy. The article mentions that Pat got so fond of handing out the potatoes to the trick-or-treaters, so much so that during pandemic, he couldn't stop. He had to find a way to still hand out potatoes, but in a contactless manner. So he created a chute. This chute would send down the potatoes and drop it into the hands or the bowls of the trick-or-treaters. How cool is that? I'm going to quote him on this one. He said, "They were like missiles coming down. The kids loved it." The first design lesson that we can learn from this is what I'll call delight through novelty. The reason why a lot of trick-or-treaters liked the potatoes was because the potatoes was different from what they were typically used to. So a lot of them would get candy, and then just adding potatoes to the mix got them excited. So they would naturally pick the potatoes over candy. The product design lesson in this is that we can find ways to make our products more exciting by introducing something new. So it doesn't have to be a brand new product. It could be a new feature. It could be a new animation. Just something subtle and new can get a lot of people excited about your product. I'll give an example. Okay, so recently I went on Canva, and on the hero section, I mistakenly moved my cursor around and I saw this delightful interaction. There was like sparkles going on as I moved my cursor, and I'm like, oh my god, this is exciting. For some users, those little moments of joy will keep them on the app longer, or will get them telling other people about that feature. Introducing delight through novelty is one of the ways we can get people excited about the products that we create. The second product design lesson that I got out of this article is product differentiation. When a lot of trick-or-treaters went to Pat's house, one of the reasons why they were excited about going there was because he was the only one handing out potatoes amongst the lot. So they were excited to go to his house because they would get something different from what they've been getting all day. Offering something different from his neighbors and the whole town got him known, got people excited about him, because they started calling him what? Potato Man. So if you want your product to stand out, then think about what will differentiate you from the crowd. How do we introduce features within the app that differentiates us from the multitude of other apps that does exactly the same thing? The third takeaway that I got from this article, or this new potato trick-or-treat tradition, is adaptability. So we remember that Part 4, during the pandemic, he had to adapt the way he was delivering the potatoes to the kids. The reason why he did that was because, of course, during the pandemic, we had to stay contactless. So he created a chute that delivered that potatoes, where he could drop the potatoes and then it got delivered to the kids. Aside the excitement they added to the experience, it was also important for Part 4 to ensure that that tradition lived on, because people had expectations of him that he had to live up to. The product design lesson from this is that when we create products, we need to ensure that it is flexible and adaptable to what is happening within the world. The world is constantly changing, and our product should be able to evolve alongside what is happening in the world. A good example is AI. AI has taken the world by storm, and if your product can leverage AI and isn't leveraging AI right now or planning to, then you are setting yourself up for failure, because that's the new world order. Users are looking for how to do their day-to-day task in less amount of time, and if AI helps them do that, then why don't you integrate it into your product if you can? Okay, moving on. The next person I want to highlight is Matt Schultz. He is a pastor in a Presbyterian church up in Anchorage, Alaska. Okay, that's what the article says. The way I sounded, it would sound as if I know him one-on-one or personally. No, I don't. I'm just quoting the article. What he did was also something very interesting. He started a campaign called #ChoosePotatoes. The reason why he did that was to give the kids a choice to choose the healthy food over candy. And so he introduced potatoes. So in his bowl, he had potatoes and candy. That was interesting because a lot of kids were picking potatoes over candy. In the first year of that campaign, he said that only 10% of the people or of the kids or trick-or-treaters would choose potatoes. Over time, they got really accustomed to it and excited about it. So much so that in one of the following years, he gave out 20 pounds of potatoes. And also he mentioned that his neighbor was a dentist and tried giving out toothbrushes. Guess what? They found a lot of toothbrushes dumped on the sidewalk or on the lawn of the dentist's house. From this portion of the article, there are two things I want to highlight. The first one is user choice. One of the reasons why the campaign to choose potato has become really popular over time is because the users, or in this case the trick-or-treaters, were given a choice to choose between candy or potatoes. So they felt empowered. They felt like they had a choice in the matter. The lesson in this is that as product designers, when we create products, it's important to give the end users the power to choose. The way this will manifest in the product is by giving the user an option to opt in rather than opt out. So let's take, for example, the cookies on a website. Typically, you would be given the option to allow cookie, not saying, okay, we already installed cookie for you, you should then opt out of it. So it's always better to give the user an option to opt in rather than opt out. Another area where this could be considered would be in payment. So you know, when you do a free trial and after that you're asked to opt out, I feel like a better way to give the user power would be make them do the free trial, and if there's so much value, they opt in. But of course, each product has its own strategies, so it will be dependent on what strategy works best for the particular product. The next one is what I call user-centered design. So this is kind of obvious because think about it. The dentist, which was Charles' neighbor, was giving out toothbrushes. One of the reasons I think why the toothbrushes were dropped off in the front of his lawn was because it did not align with the context. So when you think about Halloween, you're not thinking about toothbrush, you're not thinking about health consciousness. It's important for us to understand the end users and then create products that fit their needs. Think about their user journey, what they go through in discovery, actual usage of the product after they use the product, then create features that tie into all these and makes the life of the end users better. Another person who was a key actor was John Twarspen. So John Twarspen was someone who was an ex-executive of a potato chip manufacturing company, and he would hand out that savory snacks to the kids. And his thought behind this was, a lot of kids would have already gotten a lot of candy, so adding that alternative, which is more savory, would be something that they would like after going to a lot of houses that had the same product. What can we learn from this? The lesson here, in my opinion, is the importance of localization. How do we localize products as UI UX designers or product designers? So it's important to know that what will work within a particular context or country or an environment wouldn't work in a different context or environment, just because there might be different factors at play. A good example is Uber. In the West, you pay only with card, but in other markets in Africa, where it's a cash-based economy, they had to introduce an option to pay by cash. This Halloween tradition showcases the importance of creativity, adaptability, and localization in creating successful products. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest product emerge from thinking outside the box. To be honest, there are a lot of product design lessons that we can take from this new trending Halloween tradition. I'm going to drop the link to the article in the description, and you can read the article and tell me maybe I missed out on a couple of other lessons or product design lessons that we can learn from this new buzzing Halloween trend or tradition. Okay,